Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's talk a little UFC 282 happening tomorrow night. Blachowicz against Akaliv. Let's roll on down and check out the best bets here. I'm the dog. This is Prediction Dog. Sports betting. PredictionDog.com. I do all sports. I specialize in UFC, college football, NFL, keep going. Anyway, we're here to make you money. So I've checked out the Tapology. I look at the odds. I watched the weigh-ins today. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great weekend. Last weekend's card was fantastic. This card is probably going to live up to what last week was. I believe we had one guy miss weight, the Silva. I think he was 3 pounds over the maximum. Weighed 129. You're allowed that 1 pound over 125. So I don't see it on the betting board anymore. Maybe they just axed the whole fight. Looks like that's probably what they did, unless I'm overlooking something. But anyway, let's jump on these fights. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go from the main event all the way down, so I don't miss anything on my sheets here. So we got John Blachowicz in the light heavyweight fighting up against Magomed Ankalaev. And excuse me if I ever get some of these names wrong. I'm not an English major. I'm a sports bettor. Anyway, the line has gone up from Blachowicz was getting plus 240. Now he's getting plus 260. Which means Ankalaev's odds have gone from 300 all the way up to minus 350. No value there. I'm looking for the knockout for Ankalaev. I believe it's plus 100, so grab that. Let's move on to Paddy Baddy Bimblett. He's been having quite a week in the conversations all over the place. Anyway. He's giving a layup here. He's minus 275. Jared Gordon, he's plus 210. The best odds I'm looking at here is a sub for Paddy. Pays back plus 175. He's had 3 out of the last 5 fights. Submissions. The other 2 been knockouts. Looking at Jared Gordon, he's decision 4 of his last 5 fights have been decisions, but I just think that Paddy's too much here for him. Moving on, probably the great fight here is Santiago Ponzinibbio against Alex Moreno. This is the catchweight division, 180 pounds. So we're looking pretty tight matchup. Minus 185 for Santiago. We got plus 150 for Alex Moreno fighting out of Houston. I'm going to go with the Argentinian here, minus 185. I think that's probably my best bet on decision. So I'm sure you can get a little bit more money with Santiago on decision there. I didn't write down what the odds were, but 66% of the fan public at Tapology likes Ponzinibbio to win the match. Got Darren Till, who got poked in the eye the other day, up against the South African Dricus Duplessis. And Dricus is a minus 190 against Darren Till's plus 155. Most people think it's going to be a knockout here, 60%. I'm looking at the sub. Just seems like Darren's been submissioned a couple times in the last 5 fights. Some people are looking for him to get off the mat, get back into the game here. I see probably a second round submission. Submission pays plus 400 for the South African, and I'm going to stick with that. So moving on, probably the fight of the night. This was really nice. So we got the guy from Arkansas, Syracuse, Arkansas. This is Bryce Mitchell, better known as Thug Nasty. He has 4 decisions out of his last 5 fights. I believe he's 15-0. Going up against the pretty classy, I wore a suit to the weigh-ins, Ilya Tempura. So they got into it a little bit on a face-off this morning. The odds have gone up a little bit more in Ilya's direction since then. It was minus 140, now it's up to minus 145. Bryce Mitchell, he was plus 115, now you're going to get back plus 120. I believe this fight is going to end ugly, which means a knockout. And I'm going to take Topuria. And that pays me plus 275 by knockout. I think Bryce has really fired this guy up at the weigh-ins here. I get the fight also ends in a TKO, just in case Bryce gets lucky with a knockout, with a punch. That pays plus 225. The fight doesn't go to distance. That's minus 135. Most people think 64% are on the TKO for the Spaniard here, Ilya Tempura. We got the big boys. We got Jairzinho Rosenstruck against Chris Daukaus. And we got Rosenstruck at minus 175 against Chris Daukaus, plus 145, the former policeman up there in Philly. Now, Chris has had knockouts in the last 5 fights. He's been the victim of the last 2 fights. He's been knocked out. Looking at Rosenstruck, he has 3 knockouts in the last 5 fights. It's going to be a banger here. Someone's going down. Most people think Rosenstruck's going to take out Chris Daukaus. That's 89% of the fans there, Tapology. I'm going to actually go with Chris to get lucky, and whoever nails one first is the other person's going down. You know that. So that pays back plus 225. So I just like the odds a little bit better there. Hoping to get fortunate. Next fight, we got the 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. fighting out of Mexico against Jay Perrin. Jay is 10-6. He has 5 decisions. There are 4 decisions out of the last 5 fights. If we look at this little phenom here, he has 3 submissions out of the last 5 fights. He's 18 years old, 2 months, 2 days old. Looks like I'm going to grab him for the submission. Raul Rosas Jr. paying me plus 175. Taking he's a minus 250 favorite in the fight. Jay Perrin's a plus 195. The fight also doesn't go to distance. That's minus 125. So I'm taking doesn't go to distance, minus 125, and also submission by Raul. That pays back plus 175. Next fight, Edmund Shabazian against Duisha Lugambola. That was a tongue twister. Let's look at Edmonds, a minus 300 against Dacha, plus 240. We got the Glendale, California Edmund, who has, let's see, he's 3 knockouts in the last 5 fights. He's lost his last 3, 2 of them by the knockout. Looking over to Dacha here, he's from the Republic of Congo. And he's has a couple knockouts in the last 5 fights. He's actually lost his last 3 also. So, most people think that Edmund's going to get the knockout. I probably think so too. That pays back 100. Risk 100, get your 100 back. Put 100 in your pocket. There you go. All right, next one. Chris Curtis. Joaquim Buckley. Joaquim looking great on the scales, minus 165 against Chris Curtis, 135. Fight's probably going to get a distance. I got that plus 165. Curtis is actually last 3 out of his last 5 fights have gone to the distance. He's fighting out of Vegas. we got Mr. Buckley out of here in St. Louis, Missouri. He likes to come forward, throwing the punches, trying to take his opponent out of the ring, obviously. He has 3 knockouts, been knocked out 1 time in his last 5 fights. Anyway, so I'm going to take fight goes to the distance. I think Curtis will probably stay away from Buckley coming at him. We got Billy Quarantillo against Alexander Hernandez in the flyweight division, 145 pounds. We got Billy is a minus 165 against Hernandez plus 135. I'm going to be taking Billy, kind of a 3-round sleeper for the decision, plus 165. Most people will agree that Billy's probably going to win by decision, 65% of the people. I think there's going to be a hell of a fight here, too. Looking at the featherweight division, you got Eric Silva. He's number 12 in the world from Venezuela, taking on TJ Brown, right out of Little Rock, Arkansas. So, got a 35-year-old Eric Silva against 32-year-old TJ Brown. Looking at Eric, minus 115. His odds have gone up from 105. So some late money coming in on Eric Silva. Looks like TJ Brown has had 4 decisions in the last 5 fights. I'm going to go with the submission here. Eric Silva has had 4 submissions in the last 5 fights. He's 5-0 in his last 5 fights, 9-1 overall, compared to 16-9 with TJ Brown. He likes a rear naked choke. If you can find that, I couldn't find it quite yet yesterday on BetMGM, but if you can, that pays you back really nice. The submission by Eric Silva pays back plus 275, so that's probably really nice money. Considering he submits most of his opponents. Next fight here, we got that Daniel De Silva. He's a gentleman I thought he'd lost. He missed his weight. More than likely, this fight is not going on. He's fighting Vinicius Salvador. Anyway, I have Salvador winning by knockout, minus 150. If that does come about, which I don't think it will, but anyway. Our last fight here, we got 2 bantamweight fighters, 135 pounds. 2 undefeated gentlemen, 6-0 against this 6-0. There you go. Cameron Salmon, fighting out of South Africa. He's a heavy favorite, minus 375. He has 3 knockouts, decision, and a submission in his last 5. Going up against submission guy from Jacksonville Beach, Stephen Koslow. So Stevens plus 290 against Cameron Simons minus 375. I'm just going to wing it. Grab Koslow since he loves submissions. 3 of his 5 submissions are rear naked chokes. But that pays back handsomely if it so happens to be. So the submission is plus 600 for Koslow. So most people don't agree with me. 60% think it's going to be a knockout by Cameron Salmon. But this is a UFC. I mean, things happen. And you got to go with some gut feelings and some upsets here and there and the other places. It's a good reason most people aren't undefeated after a while. So, anyway, some of the best bets that I like personally. I love... well, if you're going to do a parlay, which I'm not a fan of parlays, but if you like a parlay, obviously they're not going to let Patty lose, right? Obviously, in the main card, odds have gone up big time on Akaleev. So Akaleev with Patty. And if you come on down, let's turn the page. You probably want to go to Duplessis to win his bout. He's minus 190 against Darren Till. I just don't think Darren is in it right now. Fight of the night, Bryce Mitchell against Lilia Tempura. Don't miss that one. That one's going to be fireworks.